I'm learning, and I thank you for doing what you're doing.
Well, as long as Obama is president, it really doesn't matter. Okay, yeah, so as long as somebody is in there that is not buying into everything you want to do, don't worry about whether it's right for the American people. Don't worry about what's good for health care, what's good for quality of care, what's good for our seniors, what's good for our special needs children. Let's not worry about any of those things.
I think it's a mess. I'm praying for his salvation, praying for the rest of our leaders that have no backbone and have no guts.
God bless you, and thank you so much for your show.
The opinions and recommendations expressed by Dan are his own and do not necessarily represent the opinions of this station or any of the show's sponsors.
Welcome back, American Family Radio Network, Financial Issues. I'm Dan Celia. Let's get to the calls. I got a lot of headline news that I want to talk about, but I'm going to just, there's some things going on in China and Europe I just wanted to throw out there, but let me go to the calls. Let's go to Kathy. Kathy calling us from North Carolina.
Dan, I love your show because I love the truth. So help me out.
Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate that.
I heard on another show something about the 501c4s, and I think I know the difference between the 501c4, but they were saying that the Democrat organizations use the code 527. Well, why can't we? What's the difference? I don't know what a 527 is.
Well, no, a 527 is another political PAC kind of nonprofit, so to speak, and there are some Christian organizations that use that, but it includes the rules and the changes and the attacks are probably going to include them too, but they'll do a good job of deciphering which ones are the conservative Christian groups and the Tea Party groups, and they'll discriminate, and be able to discriminate against all of those. So it's crazy. It's kind of irrelevant. But the 501c4 and is basically, of course, your contribution to that nonprofit is not deductible. It can't be a deductible contribution, kind of like your contributions to an individual candidate can't be deducted, and that's what a 501c4 operates in the same way. So, yeah, it is really harmful, and I'll tell you something. It is, as you heard. I don't know what we're going to do with these legislators if we don't make a massive change. 2014. I think we're doomed, and I don't think they care.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, Kathy. Yeah, it is. They're all the same. All those, all the nonprofit organizations, because they're all nonprofits. They just have different rules about contributions that they take, but they're all nonprofits, and they're all going to be scrutinized in the same way. So. Anyway, thank you, Kathy. I appreciate your support and your encouraging words. Thank you for calling. Let me go to Joe in Texas. Hey, Joe.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Hi. I just have a quick comment and a question. The comment is, I believe back when the whole IRS scandal came out about the IRS targeting conservative groups, I've read in several different sources that I believe that it came out that it wasn't just conservatives. It was also not Democrat, but more liberal groups as well. So I just wanted to make sure you were able to fact check that stuff, or maybe I got it wrong. But
no. There were a handful of liberal groups, and here's the other issue with those handful, and that has all been fact checked. As a matter of fact, if anybody listening, you can go to factcheck.org and you can see the actual numbers. You can find the article that actually has the numbers. And the other thing that the articles, hopefully they have all the articles up there. The other thing that it'll point out is those some of the liberal organizations that did get kind of caught in this got approved almost immediately after it was discovered, where the other conservative groups didn't, and some of them still haven't. So, but yeah, There was some, but a lot of the liberal organizations are trying to say it was even. It wasn't even a 10-90 split. It was less than that. So it wasn't even close to being even. And if you go to factcheck.org, and you should be able to see some of those actual numbers on that. But thank you for bringing that up, Joe. There were some, as Joe pointed out, there were some liberal groups that got caught up in that. And it's interesting, too, just for the fun of it, if you want to look a little deeper and look at the names of the liberal groups that got caught up in it, it's kind of comical because you can understand why they got thrown into the same net, was because their name sounded like it could have been. But I'll let you make that decision when you look at all that. Anyway, let me go to Douglas in Oklahoma. Hey, Douglas, how are you? No? Okay. Oh, there's Douglas. Go ahead, Douglas.
Hey, Dan. I absolutely love your show.
Thank you.
And I'm learning a lot from you, sir.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Couple quick questions. Mainly, it's for my mom. She just turned 70 years old, and she's still working. She's not in no hurry to retire. But she has a 401k, and she knows she has to start taking it out when she turns 70 and a half. And just, I know I've heard you talk about is how should she do that? Does she need to start putting that into a savings account, or which way would you recommend going with that? And,
well, there's a couple things on that, Douglas. I'm glad you asked. One thing, let me ask you this first. Does your mom, is she going to need some of that to supplement her income? I mean, obviously she has to start taking it because of the minimum required distribution of 7.5, but
right.
Is she going to need, does she need that to supplement her income?
She is completely debt-free.
Mm-hmm.
And so, not while she's working, she will definitely not need it. I mean,
okay.
Definitely not while she's still working.
And here's what I would say to you. And she needs to start withdrawing that. Now, there's two things that I would say, since she is working, that she has to be very careful that it doesn't push her in another tax bracket. But I would take it right up to the limit. So whoever does her taxes can say to her, so you're in this tax bracket. If you make I'm just making up numbers here, but they might say, if you make $20,000 more in income, you're going to be in the next tax bracket. So what she might want to do, that's going to tell her that she can't withdraw any more than $20,000. I mean, she could, but that wouldn't be a good idea because it's going to throw her in another bracket. Because remember, when she takes money from this 401k, it's considered income. So that's why it can throw you in another tax bracket.
I got you.
So I would try to suggest to her that it would really be in her best interest and the best interest of the estate someday that if she could start withdrawing as much, if she's okay paying the taxes. A lot of people say, well, I don't want to do that because I don't want to pay the tax. It's far better for her to pay the tax than right now, because she's probably in the lowest tax bracket we're ever going to be in if this government continues down this same path. So I would say take it out, move it over into a savings. I wouldn't go investing it. I would set it over in a bank, in a money market account, so that she has access to it, that it's not at any risk for loss or exposure to the market. Now, someday, when we have the severe downturn, maybe another recession, maybe a crash, that it will be time to get some of it into the market. But I would just start to withdraw it right now, and then you can always make that decision later. But I would start on a program of withdrawing.
Okay, that sounds good. That was kind of answering my second question. She's talked about maybe using it to start a Roth IRA, or maybe putting it into a charitable gift annuity, if that would be something smart for her to do. So.
Well, I think that some of it, when she starts withdrawing it in a charitable gift annuity, would be a good idea. because that's going to secure a little bit more income for her for when she stops working.
Right, and she loves that idea.
And it's going to be income that she's never going to outlive. So I like that idea because it gives her some security to know that, okay, I'm going to retire, I'm stopping work, I've got Social Security coming in, I've got my charitable gift annuity coming in, and I should be okay. So I think that's a wonderful idea to do that. So that is for sure. Yeah.
Great. Dan, I appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
All right, Douglas, I appreciate you. Listen, I want everybody in Oklahoma, Douglas, to remind you that there are some great events going on in Oklahoma and the whole state called the Give Me Liberty Tour. It is to talk about our Constitution and what we've got to do in upcoming elections, in particular to Oklahoma. I'm going to try to get to the February 7th one in Oklahoma City. And but you can check it out. If you go to my website, financialissues.org, you'll find a little thing at the bottom that says Oklahoma 2014 Give Me Liberty Tour, and you click on that, and it'll give you the dates of when they're going to be and what cities they're going to be in. And there's some great events with some incredible speakers that are going to talk through that. And the idea is to rally the troops, because we need to start doing that. It's called the Give Me Liberty Tour. I'm going to try to get to the February 7th one. I'm looking like I'm going to be try to get to that. I want all my listeners in Oklahoma, anywhere near Oklahoma City, to come out, and sure hope that you'll do that. So check that out. And thanks for calling, Douglas. I sure appreciate you. Let me go to Dolores in Indiana. Hey, Dolores.
Hey. Thank you so much for your show.
Oh, you're welcome.
I have a question about how to structure some additional income my husband and I are getting.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a very good job. We make about $125,000 to $150,000 a year, which I think is very good.
Yes.
Got the 401k set up. He does the additional amounts and everything. We have about $3,000 debt that we are paying off from a medical expense.
Mm-hmm.
But he is now working for a doctor here in the area, and I am also going to start working for her.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to make as much as he's making at his regular job at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And I didn't know, and at some point it may transition into we will be working full-time for her and he will not be doing this other job.
Mm-hmm.
But should we set up something other than a Schedule C, or I just don't know what to do with this extra income that we'll be getting?
Well, no, I think, the only thing you mean to try to prevent or try to help with some of the taxes, you mean?
Right.
As long as this other job is going to 1099 your husband,
yes,
or W-2, whatever it's going to be, it doesn't matter.
It'll be a 1099. She's not taking any taxes or anything out of it.
So as long as there's going to be a 1099 on it, there's nothing you're going to be able to do to avoid or to slow down or to minimize the taxes. I mean, obviously, there's going to be expenses associated with it,
right.
And keep
I'm keeping track of those.
Yeah, keep very accurate track of those, because that'll help. But there's very little you can do along those lines. I would just suggest doing what you're doing, keeping good track of that, as well as, getting that money and setting aside. You're obviously over 50, because you said he's doing more than how far are you from retirement? How many years?
He's 51. I'm 52. We've got a 16-year-old that we've not set up a college fund. So,
what you need to do, Dolores, is start an investment account. You don't, even if the last thing you want to do is invest, even if that's on your mind. But I would set it up anyway. I would have an investment account set up so that you can get the money over into the investment account, which is going to automatically go into a money market account, just like it would at a bank. So it's going to go into a money market account. The problem with the investment account is the money market account's not going to be FDIC insured like it is in a bank. And if that's an issue for you, then just keep it at the bank. But it would likely be a good scenario for you to start thinking about doing some investing, you've got to have some portion of this savings once it builds up. I'm not talking about right now because this may not be the best time to get in, but you've got time, so it's kind of irrelevant of when you get in. But I would like to at least get the account set up and at least start having that money go in there so that you're prepared and ready to get in when the time is right. So I would do that. Obviously, after you get your debt, get your debt paid off first. That's the number one priority. But start this, and you can go to TD Ameritrade or E-Trade or Schwab or one of those brokerage accounts. You can go directly to timothyplan.com if you want to set it up, and where you just want to put it in a couple of mutual funds. Then Timothy Plan's the only one that I can that's biblically responsible, and you can do that as well. But I think you need to do that. I would definitely start that right away. Okay. Thank you, Dolores. I sure appreciate your call. 866-300-9298. We're going to get right back to the phones after this break. We've got 2 lines open, 866-300-9298. We'll be right back.